So we are going over the entirety of the side quest once again with the patch 1.03. They fixed and added in a whole other side quest, and while I could just go over specifically those changes, I don't know where I would add them into the guide. So I figured I might as well redo it. There's a couple of things that I did wrong, out of order, so I'm just going to go and run through it all once again. And this first video isn't going to be muted because my audio was once again fucked up. I don't know what's wrong when I'm streaming through Twitch, but my microphone just doesn't work, it seems. So, um, spawning in, as always, whether it's a new character or a new game plus, this is where you spawn at. You open this door, run down, and you have a boss, the Grafted Scion. Now, regardless if you kill it or not, doesn't really matter. You will just spawn in the next area once you either fall off the cliff or this boss claps you. But so I'm gonna kill this thing real quick, and then we're gonna move on into Limgrave. And I will not be watching, reading through, or listening to anything these NPCs say. I'm going to skip through everything. Um, this is more showing where they are and what you have to do to progress their quest line. I'm not paying attention to anything, any of the dialogue. If that's something that you're interested in, you're more than welcome to do that yourself and just pause the video when I get up to an NPC if you care about what they're saying. I've beaten the game now 8 times on this character, so or 7 times. This is my 8th playthrough, so. But then I also have my other 2 characters that I've beaten the game with. So here's Very. I'm just going to talk to him real quick, get all the dialogue out of the way, and then we're going to go up to the Church of Ella, which is just north of this location, and get the Site of Grace. Next up is to grab the Site of Grace at the Gatefront Ruins and interact with Melina so that you can get Torrent as well as level up using runes. After that, we're going to continue heading north, up past Stormgate, into Stormveil Castle, to kill 2 bosses just to get them out of the way, and get a fast travel point back up here. So up this road on your right-hand side, there will be a Site of Grace and an NPC named Rodreka. And she is your spirit tuner. So very important that you talk to her, exhaust all dialogue. She's going to ask you to get a memento, which is in Stormveil Castle. And this is required to progress her storyline. However, it's not required, I don't believe, to get her to show up at the Roundtable hold. I do believe she will just show up there eventually anyways, once you've hit a certain point, but I don't know what the trigger is for that. So I suggest for early game that you do talk to her. Because if this is your first playthrough, you will need, well, you probably won't need your summons, but they are very helpful. Now, after you kill Margit and rest of that side of Grace, Melina will teleport you to the Roundtable Hall. We're just going to run through and talk to all the NPCs here. Now, when you talk to Fia and she hugs you, she will give you something called Baldachin's Blessing. It's a debuff. It will remove 5% of your total health. So I always recommend that you use it, unless you don't really care about that kind of stuff. But I care about having a 5% health debuff, so I always use it after each hug, or I try to. Sometimes I forget. So now we're back at Stormveil Castle. We're going to rest at the site of Grace, and we're going to come talk to a guy named Gostock. He's the creepy guy who tells you about the secret tunnel that's not so secret, or the secret entryway. Um, it should be noted that it's possible to mess up his quest line if you just have him open the main gate and run straight through there. So we are going to take the secret passage and come up here, and he is the guy who traps you in the room when you open the gate to get the rusted key. And be careful for fire bombs because they hurt. So after you get the rusted key, you open this gate back up. Um, use a rusted key to open that door, climb up this ladder, and then the next person we're going to interact with is the Sorcerer Rogier. And after we exhaust all dialogue with him, the next part is there is a pit over here in the over by the thing that's called the Castle Lift side of Grace. But first we're gonna send this lift back up so that we have our shortcut and get the memento for Redreka. So after you get that site of Grace and that tower, you're going to drop down here. There is a boss that will spawn. You can run past it, but it will chase you most of the time. So dodge these rats and drop down. The boss is going to pop up, whether you choose to fight it or not. When you get to the back end of this, you will see a bloodstain. You have to interact with the bloodstain to see Rogier's death and prompt him to spawn in the round table hold with additional dialogue. So here's the face, and right here is the bloodstain. So once you've seen that, you're going to climb up this really long ladder. Drop down, and you can take the lift back up to reset at that site of grace, or you can just keep running through. And as soon as I get past all these birds, I'm going to save quit so that I can reset enemy aggro and have a save time talking to Nepheli, who can be found down here in the side room right before the Godric fight. And now that Godric the Grafted is dead, we would go back into Limgrave in order to actually um, meet all the NPCs and progress quite a few quest lines. So after he's dead, you're going to want to return to the gate front side of Grace, and we're going to go and we're going to meet with Boc. Boc is disguised as a tree, however, he does talk, which gives his location away. And you're just going to roll into this tree in order to dispel the illusion. After talking to him, he will tell you that he is going to go into a cave. The cave is the Coastal Cave, which is just southwest of where you find him at. The closest way to get there is to go to the first step site of Grace, right outside of the catacombs that you come up out of, where you meet Vare. We're going to go down there, and we're going to get his sewing needle back and give that to him, and that wraps up his quest. However, there is a little bit of additional dialogue that we have with him once we get into Liurnia. So here's Boc. He got beaten up, and now we got to go run through this cave and kill the boss down here. Bosses, there's two of them. They're quite easy. so long as you manage the ads. But if this is your first run through, they might give you a little bit of trouble. There's Boc Sewing Needle. Now, rather than just going straight back to Boc, I always suggest running through the back into this cave so you can get the Site of Grace of the Dragon Commune, which is a location where you can take dragon hearts to get faith spells. Now we're going to fast travel back to the coastal cave and go and give Boc his needle. So we're going to go back to the first step Site of Grace once again, and we're going to head southeast, where we're going to go meet with Bloody Finger Hunter Yura. And it should be noted to watch out because that right there is a thing that can happen. We're not going to talk about that though. So Bloody Finger Hunter Yura will request that you kill a dragon. And if you're not ready for the dragon, you can come back and do this later. The trigger that makes Bloody Finger Hunter Yura leave this area is um, progressing into the Mountain of the Giants, which happens after you kill, um, oh, what's his name? Morgott in Lindell City. So as long as you don't progress basically to the end game, you can always come back and kill this dragon and progress his quest line. And as you can see there, a new draconic power is available at the Dragon Communion. So if you were to bring that dragon heart up to that location we found after getting the needle for Boc, there are new spells that will be added there for each dragon you killed. Well, not specifically that location. There's another dragon commune located in the Khalids. And right here, I'm just showing the trigger for Yura. You don't want to go past this point, the Grand Lift of Rold, because that will um, force him to leave this location and die. Which you can technically go and get his items anyways, but if you're a lore junkie, you might not want that to happen. So from this location, we're going to head northeast to the Waypoint Ruins in order to meet with Sellen. Um, Sellen the sorcerer who has a very in-depth quest with some really good rewards from it. Also, she will teach you a bunch of different sorceries. So grab this waypoint because you will be coming back here quite often in later videos. And we're going to talk to her. We're going to request to become an apprentice. Say yes that we don't mind that she's a criminal or whatever, that she was exiled. We're going to exhaust all dialogue, at which point we are going to leave and head to Summoner Water Village so we can go meet with D and get our first Deathroot. And I accidentally go to a dead end here, it looks like, so gonna turn around and run back up this hill. So after talking to D, we have to kill the Tibia Mariner. There are 4 of these in the game. This is the first one of the 4. And then after you kill all 4 of these, there are caves or catacombs that you have to enter to get the last 5 of them. But I'll probably go over all the locations of the Deathroot in this video series, because I didn't do it last time because I have another video guide already on all the Deathroot locations. So after talking to D at Summoner Water Village, we're going to go west to go and find Alexander, the warrior pot, and get him out of a hole that he has got himself stuck in. After talking to Alexander, the next thing we're going to go do is talk to Kenneth. So by going back to the Artisan's Shack side of Grace, and heading south down the hill, we are introduced to this man who's going to request that we go and clear a fort for him that was once his. So after he tells you to do that, we're going to head south. And Kenneth is one of the NPCs that had his quest line updated or fixed in this patch. But first, we might as well go and talk to Garang. I forgot that I did this. I was planning on doing this later, but right behind that church, just east of where we met Kenneth, is a teleporter which will take you deep into Caelid's. Um, and in here is the Beast Clergyman. So, grabbing the site of Grays, we're going to come over here. We're going to give him the first Deathroot. Now, I suggest that because once you give him 4 total, he becomes hostile and you have to fight him in order to calm him down. It can be very difficult for new players to actually do enough damage to him because he's super aggressive. His attacks hit hard as fuck. He's literally like an in-game boss, like one of the last bosses you're actually supposed to fight. Um, and he's in a very tiny room where you don't have any ability to like maneuver around. So if you are struggling with him, I would suggest um, not not give him 4 Deathroot, but to wait until you have all of them and then give him all of them. Then once he leaves the sanctum, log out, log back in, and you should receive all the rewards from the Beast Clergyman. But if you're feeling ballsy and you want to attempt to fight him, by all means, go for that. Um, but continuing down here, we're going to go grab the site of Grace for the fort and come up here. There's only one NPC actually inside of this fort that we have to kill, but I think I clear them all out anyways. Where am I going? Oh yeah, no. After I guess I returned to the first Church of Ella to meet with Ronnie, and oh yeah, and talk to Kali here in order to get the emote. So if you talk to him about the howling in the woods, which um, you should have heard a wolf howl as you ran south from the church down towards the fort. That was the prompt to come and talk to Callie. And I don't get it because I'm on New Game 8 right now, but he gives you an emote called Finger Snap, and you're going to use that emote when you're at the church at the ruin just south of that church to trigger Blaidd to spawn. And Blaidd is a very important character um, that we need to interact with. I guess you don't need to, but he has a very nice set of armor that you might want. So, and he's plays an intricate part in the Ronnie questline as well. So we're gonna come into this fort. Be very careful with these fire barrels. They do hurt. And we're gonna run up here. I'm gonna kill the. I think they're called a mounted knight, despite the fact that this one's not on a mount. And then if you wish, you can climb up this ladder and get the half of the Dectus medallion. I personally don't use the Dectus lift because it requires you to go through another fort a little later into the game in order to get the other half. I always just run around and go kill the magma worm. I think it's a little faster than going out of your way to find another fort in the middle of nowhere, run through it to get the other half of the medallion. But probably easier than fighting the magma worm, especially that early on. So after you kill that, god damn it, phone. After you kill that knight, I have it on mute too. I don't know why it's still making sound notifications. We're gonna come to the Mistwood Ruins and we're going to use the finger snap emote. Once you hear the howling, that will spawn Blaidd. You can talk to Blaidd. and he's going to ask you to hunt down someone who's located right here at the Forlorn something something. I'm watching this back on ×2 right now, so I'm not actually able to really see where I'm going. I kind of have to just go by memory. So come back and talk to Kenneth again. He's going to give you a really, really nice dagger, dude. It's top tier. And then we're going to go back to the fort in order to clear out all the demi-humans that he invited. And once again, watch out for those exploding barrels. And just going to keep talking to him until he starts talking about how he needs to find a ruler for Limgrave. Now we're going to go to Agheel Lake South so we can go and kill that guy for Blaidd. So once the Bloodhound is dead, Blaidd can be found outside of the boss fight room, and we're just gonna talk to him until he tells us pretty much to piss off. I think it's time we parted ways. All right. So next up, we need to meet with Bernal, who's at the War Master Shack. So we're gonna go back to the gate front site of grace, or not the gate front, the site of grace that's in front of Stormhill, the one where you meet Rodreka at. And we're going to go east so we can be introduced to Bernal. He plays a pretty important role, actually, in beating Malekith, because the item he drops will um, reflect the damage that this boss does back at it. So kind of really low-key important, but like I didn't even find out about this item until like I was on Journey 6, so it's not absolutely necessary, but still pretty cool. And he sells you a bunch of different Ashes of War. So I always make it a point to buy all these because, you know, experimentation and all that stuff. We're going to return to the gate, to the Waypoint Ruins where we met Sellen, and we're going to go north to the Murkwater Cave where we will be interacting with Bloody Finger Hunter Yura once again. Um, and it's really important that when you come up here, that you do not allow Bloody Finger Hunter Yura to die, because that will end his quest line. You have to kill this NPC before Bloody Finger Hunter Yura dies. You are free to die as many times as you want, but he cannot die in this combat. I do wait for him to actually spawn in before I actually kill this NPC, because I'm a little juiced up for this fight. So I'm just going to dodge around a little bit, and I'm going to wait for Bloody Finger Hunter Yura to get summoned in for the fight, and wait until I actually see him relatively close before I engage. And I can see him over there, so now I'm fighting. He dies. And now we go inside the cave to meet with Patches. So to get Patches to spawn, you have to interact with this chest. And now, very important, do not kill Patches. by the way, because he will at like 50% start groveling, and you can keep hitting him, but you do want to stop because he does sell you some pretty good stuff, and while killing him, you can get his bell um, to go give to the merchant in the round table hold. However, he has like a lot of additional dialogue, and he has a pretty cool reward later on in the game, assuming you keep meeting with him and pushing him forward. So we're gonna reload the area. We're gonna come back into the boss room, and we're gonna, after buying everything and exhausting all the dialogue with him, I'm going to open a chest which will teleport me out and away to right next to a giant bear, which will probably fuck me up here in a second. Now here's the big bear. And honestly, I think that the animals, the wolves, the dragonflies, the bears, I think that they might be the most annoying enemies in this game. Oh, and you actually don't have to fight this bear. I realized after I killed it, you just have to get to a site of grace and rest at it to get rid of this debuff that prevents you from being able to the fast travel. So I'm just gonna run north back to the church, and then I'm gonna fast travel back and confront Patches about tricking me and getting me trapped inside of a box. Because let's face it, if Homie didn't want you to touch the chest, all he had to say was, "Don't touch the chest." Now, returning to Stormhill Shack, we have to inform Rodrika that we found the memento in Stormveil Castle in order to trigger her to go to the Round Table Hold. And then after doing that, we're going to return to the Agheel Lake South, and we're going to go over this bridge, and we're going to talk to um, Arena, I think her name is, and she will ask us to go south into the Weeping Peninsula to find her father. Now, Papa Edgar is located in one of these one of the top of one of these towers of this fort. But we're just gonna run all the way to the end and get the item that he requires to leave this fort and go meet with Arena. And then we're gonna go and talk to him, reload the area, talk to him again, so that he actually leaves. Because going over there and talking to him and then killing the boss is a little extra, and I'm all about not being extra. And I will do this every time I come over here. I always think there's a site of grace right outside of this building, or right outside this fort, and there never is. Literally ever. I've done this now like 9 times. That's the tower over there I just looked at that Edgar is located at if you want to go and talk to him before fighting this boss down here. And curiosity got the best of me. I thought that there was something important at the top of this tower, but I was wrong. It's just, I believe it's just a talisman, which I could have lived without getting, so. But I fast traveled back just to climb up and double check. Actually, it might even be a flower for all I know. I don't really remember what was up here. Nah, it was the Twin Blade Talisman. So now, after killing the Misbegotten dragon thing, whatever this thing is, I'm not actually quite sure. He drops a weapon that you need to progress Edgar's quest line. Um, and this is one of, I think, 8 or 9 weapons that were required to get the platinum trophy. This one specifically, I think, is for the legendary armaments achievement, where you have to get 8 or 9 different legendary weapons scattered throughout the game. And I might go over that um, whole platinum trophy thing because I just finished mine off here about a week ago. So I might wrap this whole side quest thing up with a video at the end of the series showcasing everything you need to get the as many trophies as possible. You can only get I think there's 48 achievements in the game, so you can get I think 46 achievements with one run because the other 2 achievements are optional endings, so you have to actually beat the game 3 times to platinum the game. But I think it would be nice to have a video guide up on how to get 46 out of the 48 achievements in one run through. So we will probably do that here at the end of the guide. So talk to Edgar, then we're going to reload the area down at the lift because he won't actually go meet his daughter until we reload. So I actually just throw myself off this bridge, or not the bridge, I throw myself off the tower and kill myself because I am locked and cannot fast travel away because the NPCs I ran past. And now we're gonna go talk to Arena once again to find Edgar over her corpse. Because while he was sitting there in that tower, refusing to leave, someone came over and killed his daughter. It's very sad. And we're just gonna exhaust his dialogue to the point where he claims that he will go find vengeance. And at this point, unless I forgot something again, in which if I did, I will come back in the next video. But unless I forgot something, that's everything for Limgrave. The next thing we have to do is go back to the roundtable hold and just exhaust dialogue. So we're gonna talk to D. We can, because we went and met with the Beast Clergyman, he will sell us some faith spells. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna talk to Rogier, who has quite a few more dialogue options. Um, then we have Rodreka, as well as the blacksmith, which have so much dialogue, it's not even funny. Like if you're actually sitting here and listening to everything they have to say, you're probably here for 10 minutes. And then we're going to talk to Fia again and listen to some secrets about her being basically a prostitute. And she gives us a hint as to where we can find an item to further her quest line. It's in Liurnia Lake, so we will get to that tomorrow. And that's everything for Limgrave and the Weeping Peninsula, everyone. I do stream on Twitch almost every day. The link will be in the description if anyone wants to drop by and say hello. But that's that. Take care.